And Nietzsche, one thing that I saw after reading it a few times is he really does ground the evolution in the earth, calling us to do it for the earth. That seemed beautiful and revolutionary at the time. The aspiration of the collective, the necessity of surrendering to the divine consciousness, which I didn't see in Nietzsche, in the quotes from Nietzsche at all. Being aspiring as collective pods to be what Lynda brought up, that 100 sadhaks in an ashram in India with gurus, with everyone doing pranam to the guru. It's like that's not going to affect the spiritual transformation that's on its way. But all these little pods and circles of yogic aspirants who want to surrender their beings to being the conscious collaborator in this evolutionary process. That's probably what inspires me the most, and is the point of practice that I want to pick up on and be with deeper and deeper.
For me, it's about sincerity, right? For me, it's about experiencing all of this, experiencing the divine love. And for me, to be a living laboratory is to be conscious of this divine force, this divine consciousness, that I can become one with it if there's surrender and there's aspiration and it's done with sincerity. To me, sincerity is a big word, and Mother puts a lot of emphasis on the word sincerity. And I think because when we practice sincerity, you're operating from some level of truth. It's like it's truth for you. It's like an eternal truth.
It's one of the best summaries that I saw of the message of Sri Aurobindo, because Sri Aurobindo is not that easy read, and it is even more difficult to summarize it in an article. In particular, perhaps the only thing that was this distinction between the two types of nature. This I was left a bit in the background, and I'm rediscovering this now in modern times. It's becoming really more and more important, the difference that we should expand our idea of nature. Nature is not just trees and plants, and it is much, much more than that. And it has also an immanent aspect in the physical nature that we are accustomed with. And there's a problem. We have lost a contact with nature. Not only that, we may have too much contact with a paraprakriti, lower nature. We should find our way towards this higher form of nature.
Life divine that Debashish is pointing us towards is not a life of undifferentiated oneness, but of infinite variety, where each individuation has its own perfect expression, while simultaneous in harmonious unity and oneness with all the other individuations and with the divine all at once. And we're not the ones that's going to bring that life divine here. It's the supramental Shakti, as others here have said, that's going to do that. So it's up to us to collaborate with that Shakti, that evolutionary force, to participate in this new phase of evolution, which I just thought that was really great. And that gives a pretty deep and heroic meaning to everyday life, which I find inspiring and wonderful. And that's why I like this article so much.
That question into what are the social conditions of yoga? How do we practice yoga, and how has that changed since the time that these thinkers, Sri Aurobindo, the Mother, and even Nietzsche's questions? How have things changed since they were addressing these questions? What are the problems of becoming? What are the problems of our times? What are the structures that we become in, right? And so I see how this article is bringing this kind of a framework into light. You know, how can we push to our horizons? How can we sort of push beyond some of the these assumptions or some of these habits that sometimes keep us moving in circles? Whereas for me, it's not about a circle. Circle isn't so productive. It's more about a spiral. It's more about, you know, Nietzsche talks about the eternal return. It's the eternal return of difference. When you return in that circle, it's like you're actually, there's another level there, you know, it's an evolutionary spiral, you know.
I think the cross-cultural aspect of this article was kind of refreshing to me, to present someone from the West like Nietzsche, his ideas on Superman, as well as Sri Aurobindo, who is from East, and his ideas on Supermind. It was very interesting for me to see that two thought leaders from completely different cultures are pointing to similar things. I'm very interested in the evolutionary ideas, human evolutionary ideas, and if there is a choice, if there is a within the story of evolution, that we can either evolve through technology and keep on evolving based on that and develop abilities, and another route would be to evolve through consciousness and through our inner evolution